Of that is in a recent Gallup poll, over 50% of Americans polled, when asked, what do you like about Islam? Or what do you admire about Islam? Over 50%, almost 40% said nothing. And the others said, I don't know. That's over 50% of people in this country. Now, about 35% said, I like their devotion to their religion, which is good. I mean, that's a good, but that's a small number of people. If you have over 50% of people that have nothing to admire about Islam, that is because these people have been effective in delivering their message, and we have been completely ineffective delivering our message. One of the major problems with the Muslim community today is that we're constantly defining ourselves by what we are not. We don't tell people who we are, we tell them who we're not. And Islam, in many ways, becomes a player in identity politics. There are Muslims that define themselves vis-a-vis the kafir. I'm not a kafir. Even though they're not practicing Islam in any serious way, just the mere fact that they're not a kafir puts them in this special category, the chosen people category. Part of a historical process. We are here for a purpose. We are in the United States of America in large numbers, and we should be utilizing that fact. We have a job to do, and that job is about reconciling, because we don't want a planet that disintegrates into more war, into more hatred, into more violence, into more conflict, into more human suffering. We don't want that. I don't want that for my children. I have 5 boys. I don't want that for my children. I don't want them to ever have to witness carpet bombing. I don't ever want them to be at the end some type of weapon of mass destruction or see children blown up. I don't want them to see that. And anybody that wants war is a warmonger. And our Prophet was a prophet of peace. He came to bring peace. He did not come. He came in the midst of immense cycles of violence in the Arabian Peninsula, and he ended those cycles of violence. He ended those cycles of violence. He did not generate them. He ended them. And that was part of his historical role, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was a prophet of peace as much as Jesus was a prophet of peace. As much as any prophet that's coming, because they call to peace. They call to salam. And that's what the prophet said after every prayer. Give me peace. Let me live. Let me die in peace. Oh, give her peace. This is the prophet's prayer. The Quran says, كُلَّمَا أَوْقَدَ نَارًا لِلْحَرْبِ أَطْفَأَهَا اللَّهُ. Every time they attempted to flame, to inflame the war, put fire on the fuel of war, God put those flames out. Allah is muqfi al-haq. That is an attribute that Allah describes himself with in the Quran, that he puts out war. So we can imagine how much greater would be the human suffering if Allah didn't stop so much of this harm. So we as a community have a historical role. We don't want to see this country go to war with Iran. We don't want to see this country go to war in Pakistan or any of these places. Oh, and you plunder people. I mean, there's a book here called Militant Islam Has Come to America. The only reason these militants have come to America is because militant America has gone to the Muslim world. If militant America didn't go to the Muslim world, you would not get militant Islam coming to America. And we don't want militant Islam. I don't want to see militant Islam. I want to see the Islam of peace. But there has to be mutual conciliation. There has to be respect. The Palestinian people have to be respected. The Kashmiris have to be respected. I mean, this is a truth. And this is not, I'm not speaking even as a Muslim right now. I'm speaking as a human being. There are people that can understand this that don't have to be Muslim. When you use Apache helicopters, when you use F-16s against an armless people that have no means to defend themselves, that's simply wrong in any moral tradition on this planet. is an even playing field. That's all we're asking for. That's what we want. That's what we want in America, and that's what we want in other places in the world. We want fairness. We want justice. There are people asking why the Muslims are angry. If you're not angry about the current social conditions, you're not alive. You're not alive. You don't have a human heart. If you're not angry about 50 million people in Africa that are suffering from AIDS, and we're spending 1.001% of what we're spending on weapons of mass destruction. We're spending billions of dollars to learn better ways of killing people, and we're not putting that money to learn better ways of healing people. That is wrong. It's simply wrong, and it needs to be condemned. It needs to be condemned. We have to condemn what is wrong, and we have to honor people that stand alongside of us. We have to honor them whatever